Tonight on Cronkite News, Suns star Deandre Ayton is traded to Portland just weeks before the season starts. The new players coming to the Valley.
And shutdown on the horizon. With a potential government shutdown less than 3 days away, we analyze the impact it could have in Arizona.
And making a change. The Phoenix City Council votes to approve this new map for city council districts. The timeline for when this goes into effect and the way this could impact future city elections. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Alex DaCosta.
And I'm Aaron Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us. A big change in the Valley. Deandre Ayton is no longer part of the Phoenix Suns.
The Star Center was traded earlier today as part of a 3-team deal.
Cronkite News reporter Chase Beardsley is at Footprint Center now with the story. And Chase, where will the former Arizona Wildcat play now?
Yeah, it appears that Deandre Ayton is now a Portland Trailblazer. Now, news broke around 11 showing a 3-team trade between Phoenix, Milwaukee, and Portland. Headliners include Damian Lillard to Milwaukee and Drew Holiday over to Portland. Now, Ayton's tenure in Phoenix has been up and down at best. Speculations around the Suns moving him has dogged the big man for 2 years. Despite all of that, the Suns offered him a big contract a year ago, and he still has 3 years and $103 million left on that deal. The Suns are getting back 4 players back in this trade, but the biggest name is Jusuf Nurkic from the Blazers, which one could argue is a downgrade. But still, Ayton had grown unpopular in the Valley.
I think it's good for the Suns and, James Jones, what they're trying to do. He obviously wasn't getting it done here. He was big and soft, but a lot of people want him. He still has value in the league. So, he's a good player. It just wasn't happening here.
There's been a lot of big changes around this organization the past year, including new owners and new players. Now, it's still uncertain what this means for a probable run in the near future. For Chase Beardsley at Footprint Center, back to you guys at the studio.
Thank you, Chase. We will have more about the blockbuster trade later in sports. Turning now to the anticipated government shutdown, as the deadline for Congress is just 3 days away.
Many federal employees, such as TSA workers and military members, are expected to continue working even if they may not receive a paycheck after the shutdown. Cronkite News reporter Adriana Gonzalez-Chavez joins us now from the control room to tell us how food pantries in the Valley are preparing to step in and help those who may be impacted.
Take 6 to 7.
If there is a government shutdown, and depending how long it may last, programs like WIC may be impacted. If they can't come to an agreement by Sunday, funding will come to a stop. These are employees of the West Valley Community Pantry, and they're preparing food packages for community members. June Kelsey is the executive director and says they help 70 to 80 families a day. And with the government shutdown, if it were to happen, she expects this number to increase.
We try and serve as many people as we can, and we've never run out of food. But I can see us giving out maybe a little less because of the more people. We are an emergency food pantry, but we're only open 3 mornings a week. Like I said earlier, there was a huge line this morning, and that's before all this hit.
The last government shutdown happened in 2018 and 2019 during the Trump administration. In the control room, Adriana Gonzalez-Chavez, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Adriana. Meantime, the president will be in town tonight and host a series of events tomorrow. While President Biden is here, he is expected to host a speech to honor his friend and late Senator John McCain. The president's visit comes amidst a surge of migrant crossing at the southern border. Some leaders want the president to visit the area while in Arizona.
With candidates looking ahead to 2024, there's concern over how the 2024 elections will be run in Arizona. A new report finds many experienced election officials have lost their post. According to the nonprofit firm Issue One, 80% of Arizona's counties will have new chief election officials by 2024. Many of Arizona's top officials left following the 2020 election. According to the report, many left because of the harassment and threats. 98% of Arizonians living in the affected counties. In some counties, a new elections director and county recorder will oversee the 2024 election. Meanwhile, here in Phoenix, the place where your vote counts could change. This is all because the Phoenix City Council agreed to a new map which re-outlines city council districts.
The changes were all made due to an updated population count from the 2020 census. Cronkite News reporter Tabitha Bland is at the Google touchscreen to show us which places were affected the most.
That's right. The Phoenix City Council unanimously approved new district maps yesterday. These districts represent 1.6 million residents. The purpose of redistricting is to make sure that the population is being equalized or spread evenly across the districts. Here is a side-by-side comparison of the current district zoning and the approved zoning for the future. The maps don't show obvious change, but the numbers say otherwise. District 7 alone will cut 17,000 residents. For example, precincts like Greenwood that are fully located in District 7 will now be split across the two districts. The red line here represents the new zoning, which will split Greenwood across District 7 and District 4. Other precincts will undergo a full transition from one district to another. Creighton is one example. Voters there will now vote in District 4 rather than in District 8. Even though there are changes, one thing the City Council wanted to ensure is that the districts remained equally split between Hispanic and non-Hispanic majorities, with 4 each. The new maps were approved by the full City Council yesterday, but will not go into effect until January 1st, 2024. At the Google touchscreen, Tabitha Bland, Cronkite News.
Well, folks in Flagstaff, Sedona, and Oak Creek Canyon can expect to see smoke because of a lightning-caused wildfire. The Cecil fire began last week near Flagstaff. So far, it's only burned about 40 acres, but firefighters plan to let it grow to more than 2,000 acres over the next several days. Officials with the Coconino National Forest say letting it burn will improve the landscape. The Still fire, which was also caused by lightning and has been burning since September 14th.
Coming up next, trying to save a struggling retail space. It's the Arizona Center, but now there's a new push to save the area that's remained mostly empty over the years. The buyer that is giving downtown residents new hope.
Plus, a big cool down on the way. Find out how low the temperatures will go when we return.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to see
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Pales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Downtown Phoenix destination is struggling to survive, but a new project may change all that.
Cronkite News reporter Roxanne De La Rosa explains how the project can benefit the location and those who frequent it.
As you enter into the Arizona Center, you may be wondering why there's so many empty spaces. According to city officials, a new owner has purchased the location and plans to revitalize the area. For some people who work in the area, the Arizona Center doesn't offer many options.
I do see that they do have a lot of empty spaces. There are only 3 places here to eat.
Carla Scott of the City of Phoenix says retail brands have come and gone, but the Arizona Center is in a prime location.
It was built in the early 90s as a catalyst for downtown Phoenix to bring that shopping and that dining, and they did really, really well for a long time.
Mark Stapp says the design layout played a huge role in why the retail spaces failed. He says the center is similar to the design of a shopping mall.
And it's not cheap to change. It's not easy to change. So it'll be interesting to see what the redevelopment plans really involve. Whether it's makeup or whether it's makeover.
Real estate developer Prescient Corporation purchased portions of the center in July for $27 million.
Healthy food options, health and wellness, funtertainment.
According to recent census data, the Phoenix metro area ranked among the 15 fastest growing large cities in the nation. Projects like this will boost the economy, according to Stapp.
I think it's very important for the life and health of downtown Phoenix for that to be successful.
For customers, such as Josephson, she has no other choice but to continue coming to this location.
You know, it is what it is. For me, I come here because I'm right over there and it's convenient. So of course I would like more options.
The City of Phoenix will release new details about the new plan. In Phoenix, Roxanne de la Rosa, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Roxanne. Alex, we're this close to the weekend. I just know it's going to be a beautiful one.
That's right, Aaron, because we're in for a major cool down. Jordy Fee Platt joins us now to fill us in on what we can expect.
Let's take a look at our evening planner for tonight. 99 degrees at 7 p.m. and it will cool down quite a bit into the late evening. A perfect night to spend out on the patio and have a nice meal, which is a really, really welcome sight here in Phoenix after some very, very hot evenings. Taking a look at the next couple days in the western part of the United States, the Pacific Northwest will get hit on Thursday with some rain. It'll head down into California on Friday. San Francisco will get hit with that rain. And then on Saturday, Los Angeles, the southern part of California, will get some rain. There's some clouds coming through Phoenix. There's hope that might lead to some rain on Sunday. It certainly is leading to lower temperatures in the state. 40 degrees in Flagstaff, 38 degrees in the Grand Canyon. If you can get up to that northern part of the state, it's really pleasant right now. You see the high of 75 degrees in Flagstaff. Phoenix still remains pretty hot, 104 degrees, but it will cool down in the coming days, which we'll get to in just a moment. As you see the 8-day forecast, 101 is the high on Friday, 97 on Saturday, but then we'll make a dramatic shift in temperature. 88 is the high on Monday, 89 on Tuesday, and those low temperatures just really, really nice. If you can get out for a run in the morning or a walk with your dog, just a perfect time to be outside. There's a slight chance of rain on Sunday. We'll see if it transpires. Doesn't often happen here in the valley at this time of year. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Jordy Fee Platt.
Now, some exciting news out of Hollywood as the Writers Guild of America voted unanimously last night for its members to go back to work today. The strike lasted 148 days. It ended after the WGA agreed to a tentative contract with the major Hollywood studios. While the contract is not set in stone, it includes pay raises, stronger benefits, protection against the use of AI, and streaming compensation. Despite the strike ending for the writers, the Screen Actors Guild is still on the picket line fighting for their own new contract.
That's right, but the end of the writer's strike means the return of late night. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver have all announced their respective shows are coming back next week. The host said in a joint statement on Instagram that their podcast, Strike Force 5, was coming to an end. The podcast was created during the strike with proceeds going to their writing staffs.
Coming up next, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Big names are trading places in the NBA. Deandre Ayton is headed to Portland, but he's not the only one to go. The big moves around the NBA today with less than a week to go before training camp opens.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
This is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
and develop your skills with the latest technology.
Three, two, one. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories
Learn and master the English language.
in a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Ryan Pinnell. As we reported earlier in the show, the Deandre Ayton era is over in Phoenix. The Suns traded the big man to the Portland Trail Blazers in a three-team deal that gets a little complicated, but here's what it looks like on paper. The Trail Blazers give up Damian Lillard to Milwaukee, while the Bucks send Drew Holiday to Portland. Ayton goes to the Trail Blazers, while the Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. The Suns also gave up rookie Toumani Camara to the Trail Blazers. It's hard to say how Frank Vogel will use the four new players. There are a lot of questions for Suns Media Day, which is this coming Monday. GCU men's basketball is favored to win the WAC conference again this year. Yes, they lost some key starters from last year's squad, but their backcourt is deep, and they are tournament tested, having won the WAC conference tourney last year and putting up a good fight against Gonzaga in the NCAA tournament. We'll see if Bryce Drew can get his team back to the big dance this year. The Havocs have one of the hardest non-conference schedules in the nation as they host national runner-up San Diego State early in the season. They'll have to rely on veterans like all-around go-to guy Gabe McLaughlin, who says this team is built to withstand tough challenges.
Adversity can hit, there may be some tough games that we go through. Hopefully we still win them. That's the plan. But to know that, no matter what happens, this core group, this team is not going to break.
Only a handful of people can say they've driven on an official NASCAR-sanctioned track, and even fewer can say they supported a good cause while doing it. Cronkite News reporter Jeff Hinkle takes us behind the wheel for an event that caters to both thrill seekers and philanthropists.
Phoenix Raceway's Track Laps for Charity is just one of the many events that helps benefit the Arizona Accelerators Charities, a local 501c3 charity sponsored by Phoenix Raceway that helps support the Phoenix community. For a donation of just $30, anybody could drive their own car out onto the track and log laps just like the NASCAR drivers do every Sunday. Some people that came to the event saw this as a great opportunity to take their families out for a nice weekend drive.
My son, my niece, and my sister are all behind us. Brought out the family, and we are here to enjoy this and support their charity.
For season ticket holders at the track, we like getting out on the weekends in our little hot rod, and so we wanted to come out here and do some laps for charity and help raise a little bit of money for a great cause and have some fun while we're doing it.
Track Laps for Charity event at Phoenix Raceway is a unique experience for you to drive your own car on the track at Phoenix Raceway, but it's an even better opportunity to donate some money to a very worthy cause in the Arizona Accelerators charities. I might take my hand at it. Let's see how fast my little Elantra can go. The safety precautions to drive the track ensured that no one would get seriously injured, so the answer to that question was a brisk 45 miles per hour. Everyone that drove the track had to sign a waiver, and the #1 rule, do not hit the wall. This event was part of Phoenix Raceway's championship weekend kickoff, with all the higher speed track action happening November 3rd through the 5th at the track. In Phoenix, Jeff Hinkle, Cronkite News.
One of the most anticipated events in golf tees off this week in Rome. The Ryder Cup matchup between Team USA and Team Europe features some of the best players in the world. Team USA won the Cup 2 years ago, but with new talent on Team Europe and the backdrop shifting to Italy this year, winning in enemy territory is historically very difficult in this event.
I don't think the average fan realizes just how hard it is to win in a hostile environment. So that to me is what's going to make it such an amazing watch, coupled with Europe a year ago, no one really knew what their 1 through 12 would look like. They've had all these young guys have phenomenal summers and fall, and I think you look at those teams 1 through 8, even 1 through 10, the talent level, like barely any difference. So I think it's going to be a tremendous Ryder Cup.
Joining me now is Cronkite sports reporter Jacob Luthi. So, Jacob, we know that both teams, USA and Europe, pull out all the stops for this competition, including the big name guys like we see behind us. But who and what exactly do we need to look out for from the Europeans this weekend?
Yeah, the team this year is incredibly strong for Team Europe, but the one player I'm really looking forward to watching is young Ludwig Aberg. He's a former #1 amateur player in the world. He turned pro just this year, and he's exploded onto the golf scene. He won the Omega European Masters in Switzerland, and that's what really solidified his spot on this European roster. So really seeing what he does for this team is really interesting to me. And also, the storyline I'm looking forward to is, can Team USA win on European soil? They haven't done it in 30 years, not since 1993. So it's going to be difficult. So I'm looking forward to seeing if USA could win in enemy territory. But with the roster they have this year, they might be able to do so.
Yeah, I agree. This might be the roster to do it. A very stacked, talented roster. But there's one guy in particular I want to look at, and that's Justin Thomas. It was a controversial decision to include him in this 12-man roster, but this is a guy that's been there, done that. He's made 4 Ryder Cup appearances, secured 6.5 points out of 9 possible in his last 2 trips, but he has been on a tough stretch, missing the cut in 5 of his last 9 tournaments. So I'm curious to see how he'll perform on this big stage. And in terms of storylines, it's simply how Brooks Koepka, the lone live golfer on this team, will mesh ever since the PGA and live drama took place. But simply enough, Jacob, got to get your prediction. Europe, USA, who do you got?
Europe. It's hard to win in enemy territory.
All right, that does it. And that's going to be it for your Cronkite Sports Report. Alex and Aaron, back to you.
Thanks, Jacob and Ryan. Coming up next, an American astronaut breaks a record in space.
The astronaut is back on planet Earth after logging millions of miles. His amazing return after this quick break.
We tell ourselves stories as a nation.
These stories need to be highlighted. They need to be explored. We're the dreamers.
How serious is America's commitment to looking at its history? How can we learn from the past?
Douglas said, "You're going to look me in the eye and see my humanity."
It's illuminating. I'm seeing the expansiveness of my history.
That's pretty great.
There's so much richness to Black life and Black culture.
I think the story of Muslims in America is the story of America.
Tonight, they are free.
I cannot imagine how excited he must have been.
It's a wonderful feeling. This is why we do this.
It makes me even more committed to struggling for a better world.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
A NASA astronaut is back on solid ground today after a record-breaking run-in in space.
That's right. The astronaut returned home after spending more than a year in space. That means Frank Rubio set a record for the longest U.S. space flight, but it was totally an accident. He was only supposed to be on a 180-day mission and planned to hitch a ride home from the International Space Station on a Russian vessel, but that was hit by space junk. So Rubio had to stay a bit longer, 371 days to be exact, and in that time he logged 157 million miles and circled the Earth nearly 6,000 times.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.